The small town nestled between rolling hills and whispering pines was a serene place where life seemed to move at a slower pace. The camera panned to a school playground where children were playing, their laughter echoing through the crisp air. Among them, Tommy, a bright-eyed, mischievous boy, was seen playing football with his friends, his energy and enthusiasm apparent in every move he made. He was the kind of boy who effortlessly drew attention, his presence always marked by a flurry of activity and noise. Meanwhile, at the edge of the playground, Timmy sat alone on a bench, engrossed in a book. He was a quiet boy, often lost in the worlds he discovered between the pages. His solitude was not born of choice but circumstance. He was different, and in a place where conformity was the norm, different often meant alone. The camera lingered on Timmy for a moment, capturing the contrast between his calm demeanor and the bustling playground around him. For the first time, Tommy noticed Timmy. The sight of the quiet boy sitting alone piqued his curiosity. There was something about Timmy's unwavering focus on his book that stirred a mix of emotions in Tommy. It was a fleeting moment, but it planted the first seed of what would become a significant part of their intertwined fates. It's lunchtime, and Timmy was sitting alone at a cafeteria table, engrossed in his book. The noisy chatter of the cafeteria filled the air, but Timmy was lost in the pages, oblivious to the surrounding chaos. He had always found solace in the quiet world of books, a refuge from the bustling reality around him. Tommy and his friends were making their way through the cafeteria, laughing and pushing each other playfully. As they passed by Timmy's table, Tommy's eyes caught sight of Timmy, once again lost in a book. A mischievous grin spread across Tommy's face. He nudged one of his friends and pointed towards Timmy. "Look at bookworm Timmy," Tommy remarked loudly, making sure everyone could hear. The boys around him burst into laughter, their voices echoing in the large room. Timmy felt a flush of embarrassment creep up his neck, but kept his eyes firmly on the text in front of him, trying to ignore the taunts. Tommy and his friends continued to mock Timmy, their laughter growing louder. Timmy's silence only seemed to encourage them. The other kids in the cafeteria began to notice, and soon, more laughter joined the chorus. Timmy could feel the weight of their stares, but he remained silent, his hands gripping the book tightly. This moment marked the beginning of Tommy's bullying. From that day on, Timmy's love for reading became the focus of Tommy's teasing. Whether it was in the classroom, the hallways, or the playground, Tommy and his friends found ways to make fun of Timmy's quiet nature and passion for books. Timmy tried to endure it all in silence, retreating further into his literary worlds. As weeks turned into months, the bullying became a regular part of Timmy's school life. He would often find himself sitting alone, not just in the cafeteria, but also on the bus and during recess. His classmates' laughter and whispers followed him everywhere, a constant reminder of his isolation. Timmy's refuge in books became both his escape and his shield, a way to block out the hurtful words and mocking faces. Despite the growing torment, Timmy never let go of his books. They were his companions, his comfort in a world that seemed increasingly hostile. The pages of his novels were filled with heroes who faced challenges and emerged stronger, and in those stories, Timmy found a glimmer of hope. He believed that someday, his own story might take a turn for the better, just like the characters he admired. But for now, the bullying continued, and Timmy endured it in silence, holding on to the belief that every story, no matter how difficult, had the potential for a brighter chapter. As years rolled by, the torment Tommy inflicted on Timmy grew more severe. What began as teasing and laughter in third grade morphed into an unrelenting campaign of cruelty. Tommy's bullying evolved from mere name-calling in the hallways to more insidious actions. He would trip Timmy, sending his books and papers flying, leaving Timmy to scramble on the floor to collect his belongings while enduring the mocking laughter of onlookers. In middle school, Tommy's tactics became more sophisticated. He would spread rumors about Timmy, painting him as odd and unapproachable. Whispers followed Timmy wherever he went, making him feel like an outsider in his own school. Despite the escalating harassment, Timmy found solace in his books, retreating further into the pages of the stories that offered an escape from his grim reality. Through the years, Timmy's isolation deepened. He walked alone in the crowded hallways, ate lunch in solitude, and avoided eye contact with his peers. The pain he felt was compounded by the fact that no one stood up for him. It seemed that the entire school had accepted Tommy's version of Timmy, a target for ridicule and scorn. High school brought no respite. If anything, Tommy's influence had grown. He was no longer just a bully. He was a leader, a figure others followed out of fear or admiration. The tripping and name-calling continued, but now there were new layers of psychological torment. Tommy would sabotage Timmy's school projects, ensuring he failed assignments, and spread lies that kept Timmy in a constant state of anxiety. Yet, through all this, Timmy endured in silence. His love for learning became his shield, the one thing Tommy could never take away from him. Timmy's grades remained exceptional, a testament to his resilience and determination to rise above the torment. The years passed in a blur of relentless bullying and quiet endurance. While Tommy basked in the camaraderie of his friends, Timmy found companionship in the characters of his books. Each year seemed to stretch endlessly, a monotonous cycle of pain and perseverance. Timmy's heart grew heavier with each passing day, but his spirit remained unbroken. The contrast between the two boys became starker with each passing year. Tommy's antics grew more elaborate, but Timmy never retaliated. He bore the brunt of the bullying with a quiet dignity, his eyes always focused on the future, a future where he hoped to leave the torment behind. Their high school years were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the cruelty that can fester in the absence of empathy. Timmy's journey through these years was a silent struggle, a testament to his inner strength and unyielding hope for a better tomorrow. As high school neared its end, the seeds of change were about to be sown, but for now, the years of escalation stood as a monument to Timmy's endurance and Tommy's unchecked cruelty. The school auditorium was bustling with activity as students participated in a DNA testing event for the science fair. Tables were set up in neat rows, each equipped with testing kits, informational pamphlets, and eager volunteers ready to assist. The atmosphere was a blend of curiosity and excitement, with students chattering about their potential ancestry and the scientific wonders of DNA. Tommy and Timmy stood in separate lines, both feeling a mixture of reluctance and apprehension. Tommy, usually the center of attention with his confident demeanor, seemed unusually quiet. He watched the other students with a forced smile, his mind preoccupied with thoughts he couldn't quite articulate. Timmy, on the other hand, was clutching his book tightly, using it as a shield against the chaos around him. His eyes were downcast, avoiding the curious glances of his peers. When it was finally their turn, Tommy and Timmy approached the tables almost simultaneously. The volunteers handed them cheek swabs, and they performed the simple task with practiced ease. As they handed back the samples, they exchanged a brief, tense glance. In that fleeting moment, a silent understanding passed between them, filled with years of unspoken words and unresolved emotions. They walked away from the tables, each lost in their own thoughts. The event continued around them, but for Tommy and Timmy, time seemed to slow down. The weight of their shared history hung heavily in the air, an invisible thread connecting their past with an uncertain future. They knew the results of the DNA test would bring answers, but neither was prepared for the questions that would follow. Weeks later, the anticipation had reached its peak as the results from the DNA testing event were finally in. Tommy, brimming with excitement, eagerly awaited the findings that would reveal his ancestry. He had always been curious about his roots, and this was his moment of discovery. As he read through the results, a broad smile spread across his face. He learned about his Scottish ancestry, and the images of rugged highlands and ancient castles filled his mind. He felt a sense of pride and connection to a land he had never known. Meanwhile, Timmy was called into the principal's office. He walked down the hallway, his mind occupied with thoughts of what could be so urgent. He had no idea that this moment would change everything he thought he knew about himself and the world around him. As Timmy entered the office, the principal greeted him with a concerned look. Timmy's heart began to race as he took a seat. The principal handed him an envelope containing his DNA results and began to explain the shocking revelation. Timmy and Tommy shared a great-grandparent, making them distant cousins. The news hit Timmy like a bolt of lightning. He sat there, stunned, trying to process the information. The boy who had tormented him for years was, in fact, his family. Timmy's mind raced back to the countless instances of bullying, the cruel words, and the isolation he had felt. The realization that he and Tommy were connected by blood was almost too much to comprehend. He left the principal's office in a daze, clutching the envelope tightly in his hand. As he walked through the school corridors, the noise around him seemed to fade into the background. He needed time to think, to understand what this new information meant for him and for Tommy. The revelation had turned his world upside down, and he knew that nothing would ever be the same again. Timmy's parents sat on one side of the living room, their faces a mixture of confusion and concern. On the other side, Tommy's parents mirrored their expressions, equally taken aback by the unexpected news. Both families had gathered to discuss the DNA results that had revealed a surprising connection between their sons. The room was thick with tension, as neither set of parents knew quite how to react to the revelation that Timmy and Tommy were cousins. As the conversation unfolded, the parents exchanged stories and tried to piece together the family history that had led to this moment. They spoke about long-lost relatives and fragmented family trees, each revelation adding another layer to the complex tapestry of their shared ancestry. The more they talked, the more they realized how intertwined their lives had been without them even knowing it. Meanwhile, Tommy, who had been eavesdropping from the hallway, felt a wave of disbelief wash over him. He had always seen Timmy as an easy target, someone to mock and belittle. Now, the realization that they were family filled him with a deep sense of guilt, memories of all the cruel things he had done to Timmy over the years played in his mind like a haunting montage. Each prank, each hurtful word, now weighed heavily on his conscience. Tommy's parents glanced at each other, their faces showing a mix of shock and understanding. They had known their son to be mischievous, but the weight of this revelation was something they hadn't anticipated. Timmy's parents, on the other hand, were grappling with their own emotions. They had always wondered why Timmy was the target of such relentless bullying, and now they had an answer that only raised more questions. In the midst of this emotional whirlwind, Tommy felt a pang of regret. He realized that his actions had not just been childish pranks, but had caused real pain to someone who was now revealed to be a part of his own family. The guilt was almost too much to bear. He wanted to run and hide, but he knew he couldn't escape the truth. As the conversation drew to a close, Both sets of parents agreed that they needed to find a way to move forward. They decided to give the boys some space to process the news on their own terms. They hoped that in time, the boys would come to terms with their newfound connection and perhaps even build a bridge over the chasm that had existed between them for so long. Tommy retreated to his room, his mind racing. He couldn't shake the image of Timmy sitting alone, reading his book, while he and his friends laughed and jeered. The realization that he had been tormenting his own cousin made him feel ashamed. He knew he needed to make things right, but he wasn't sure how to begin. In the quiet of his room, Tommy made a promise to himself. He would find a way to apologize to Timmy and show him that he was genuinely sorry for all the pain he had caused. He didn't expect forgiveness, but he hoped that in time, they could find a way to be more than just cousins. They could be friends. Timmy, on the other hand, was wrestling with his own emotions. The revelation had left him stunned and confused. He had always felt like an outsider, and now he knew why. The knowledge that Tommy was his cousin was a bitter pill to swallow, but it also offered a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this revelation could be the catalyst for change. Tommy had found Timmy sitting alone on the school bleachers, a familiar sight that had somehow become even more poignant in light of recent events. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the empty field, the bleachers creaking under the weight of solitude and unspoken words. Timmy was engrossed in his book, his face calm and focused, yet there was an underlying sadness that Tommy could sense even from a distance. Tommy's heart felt heavy as he approached, each step feeling like a monumental effort. The realization that Timmy was not just a classmate but his own flesh and blood had shifted something deep within him. For years, he had inflicted pain and suffering on Timmy, stemming from a place of ignorance and misguided superiority. It was time to make amends. Timmy looked up from his book as Tommy drew near, his eyes widening slightly in surprise but quickly settling into a guarded expression. The silence between them was thick, filled with the weight of years of torment and the unexpected revelation of their shared ancestry. Tommy took a deep breath, his throat tightening, and forced himself to meet Timmy's gaze. Tommy's apology was sincere and heartfelt, his voice trembling with the raw emotion he could no longer contain. He spoke of the guilt that had gnawed at him since learning the truth, the regret that had kept him awake at night. He admitted to the pain he had caused, acknowledging the scars he had left on Timmy's spirit. Timmy listened in silence, his eyes softening as Tommy continued. There was no anger in his gaze, only a quiet understanding that seemed to transcend the years of hurt. As Tommy's words faltered, Timmy's lips curved into a gentle smile, his eyes filled with a kindness that took Tommy by surprise. Timmy's forgiveness was given freely, without hesitation or resentment. It was an act of grace that spoke volumes about his character, a testament to the strength and resilience that had carried him through the darkest of times. The moment was profoundly emotional for both boys, a cathartic release of years of pent-up feelings and unspoken truths. Tommy felt a sense of relief wash over him, a weight lifting from his shoulders. The apology had been long overdue, but Timmy's acceptance made it clear that it was never too late to seek redemption. The bond that had been forged in pain now had the chance to heal and grow stronger. As they sat together on the bleachers, the setting sun casting a warm glow over the scene, there was a newfound sense of camaraderie between them. The past could not be changed, but the future was theirs to shape. They had taken the first step toward a new beginning, one built on understanding, forgiveness, and the shared knowledge of their family ties. The emotional moment lingered, a quiet testament to the power of reconciliation and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Tommy and Timmy, once divided by cruelty and misunderstanding, were now united by a deeper connection that promised to guide them toward a brighter, more compassionate future. Over the next few weeks, Tommy's transformation became the talk of the school. The boy who once thrived on taunts and torment had now become a guardian for the very person he used to bully. It started subtly at first. Tommy would subtly intervene when he saw someone else trying to make fun of Timmy. His sharp wit, once a weapon of cruelty, was now a shield of protection. He would craft clever retorts that disarmed would-be bullies and left them speechless. The students couldn't help but notice. Whispers filled the hallways, and curious glances were often thrown towards Tommy and Timmy. The change was palpable. Tommy's friends, at first bewildered, began to see a new side of him. They saw a boy who was trying to atone for his past mistakes, a boy who was learning the meaning of empathy and kindness. Tommy's transformation wasn't just about standing up for Timmy. He also began to change his behavior in other aspects of his life. He started paying more attention in class, participating in group activities, and generally showing more respect towards his peers and teachers. The same energy and enthusiasm he once channeled into bullying were now directed towards positive actions. One day, during a particularly tough math class, Timmy struggled with an equation. Tommy, noticing his difficulty, offered to help him. Timmy was hesitant at first, but the sincerity in Tommy's eyes reassured him. They worked through the problem together, and for the first time, Timmy felt a sense of camaraderie with Tommy. The weeks turned into months, and the bond between Tommy and Timmy grew stronger. They began to spend more time together outside of school. Tommy introduced Timmy to his favorite sport, football, while Timmy shared his love for books with Tommy. They discovered that despite their differences, they had much to learn from each other. The school was abuzz with the surprising transformation of the former bully. Teachers, who once had to intervene in Tommy's mischief, now watched with pride as he helped fellow students. The principal, who had witnessed the journey from the shadows, couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Tommy's family noticed the change as well. He was more respectful at home, more willing to help with chores, and more engaged in family conversations. The guilt he once felt for his actions towards Timmy was slowly being replaced by a sense of purpose and redemption. The true testament to Tommy's transformation came during a school assembly. A group of older students tried to gang up on a younger boy. Without hesitation, Tommy stepped in. He didn't use force or aggression, but instead used his words to diffuse the situation. He spoke with the wisdom of someone who had walked both sides of the line, the bully and the protector. The younger boy looked at Tommy with gratitude, and the older students, realizing the futility of their actions, backed down. The assembly hall erupted in applause. Tommy's actions had not only protected the young boy, but also set an example for the entire school. It was a moment of triumph, not just for Tommy, but for everyone who believed in the power of change and redemption. As the school year progressed, the once clear lines between the bully and the bullied blurred. Tommy and Timmy's friendship became a beacon of hope for others. It showed that people could change, that forgiveness was possible, and that even the deepest wounds could heal with time and effort. The transformation was not just about Tommy becoming a better person. It was also about Timmy learning to trust and forgive. It was about the school community learning to accept and support the changes in Tommy. It was about families coming together and realizing that ties of blood, no matter how distant, could bring about profound change. The journey was far from over, but the path was now clear. Tommy's transformation was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of forgiveness. It was a reminder that everyone, no matter their past, had the potential to change and make amends. In the end, Tommy's story was not just about a bully's redemption. It was about the interconnectedness of people, the impact of kindness, and the enduring strength of the human heart. And as the days turned into years, the lessons learned from Tommy's transformation continued to inspire and guide those who witnessed it. Tommy and Timmy began spending more time together, their initial awkwardness slowly melting away as they discovered shared interests and common ground. They started visiting each other's homes, which were strikingly different yet similarly welcoming. Tommy's home was always bustling with energy and noise, a place where laughter echoed through the halls and the aroma of home-cooked meals filled the air. Timmy's home, in contrast, was serene and quiet, a haven of bookshelves and soft-spoken conversations. Despite these differences, both boys found comfort in each other's spaces. Tommy was fascinated by the tranquility of Timmy's home, often finding himself lost in the pages of a book under the gentle encouragement of Timmy's parents. Timmy, on the other hand, was drawn to the lively atmosphere of Tommy's household, where he felt the warmth of being part of a large, boisterous family. They worked on school projects together, combining Tommy's creativity and Timmy's meticulous attention to detail, whether it was a science fair exhibit or a group assignment there. Collaboration turned each task into a seamless blend of fun and productivity. The more time they spent working side by side, the more their bond strengthened, evolving from mere acquaintances to genuine friends. Outside of schoolwork, they often found themselves on the football field. Tommy, always the more athletic of the two, took it upon himself to teach Timmy the finer points of the game. Timmy, though initially hesitant, gradually grew more confident, his skills improving with each passing day. The field became a place where they could laugh, compete, and learn from each other. Tommy's friends, who had once been participants in the bullying, began to see Timmy in a different light, accepting him as part of their circle. Their families, too, started to bond over shared meals and gatherings. Weekend barbecues became a common occurrence, filled with laughter, storytelling, and an abundance of food. Both families marveled at the newfound friendship between the boys, often reminiscing about the journey that had brought them together. The parents, once strangers, found themselves becoming friends, united by the joy of seeing their children grow closer. Through these shared experiences, Tommy and Timmy's friendship blossomed. They discovered that despite their different personalities, they complemented each other perfectly. Tommy's outgoing nature brought Timmy out of his shell, while Timmy's calm demeanor helped ground Tommy. They learned to rely on one another, finding strength in their differences and building a bond that went beyond mere friendship. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, their connection deepened. They became each other's confidants, sharing secrets, dreams, and fears. They laughed together, cried together, and supported each other through the ups and downs of teenage life. Their friendship became a beacon of hope and transformation, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the beauty of unexpected connections. Through every shared meal, every collaborative project, and every football game, Tommy and Timmy's bond grew unbreakable. Their families, now intertwined, celebrated this newfound unity, cherishing the lessons learned from their sons. The small town, once a backdrop to their conflict, now stood as a testament to their remarkable journey of growth and friendship. The graduation day was bathed in the golden light of a setting summer sun, casting a warm glow over the entire town gathered in the open-air auditorium. Everyone was there, from the youngest children to the oldest grandparents, all ready to celebrate the achievements of their young graduates. The air buzzed with excitement and the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Tommy and Timmy were among the graduates, their accomplishments etched on both their faces and in the hearts of those who had watched their journey. As the principal called names, each student walked across the stage to receive their diploma, their steps filled with the weight of years of hard work, trials, and triumphs. When Tommy's name was called, he walked with a confident stride, his eyes scanning the crowd. Applause erupted, acknowledging not just his academic achievements, but also his personal growth. He accepted his diploma, turning to face the audience with a proud smile before stepping aside. As Timmy's name echoed through the speakers, he stood up from his seat, the bookish boy who once sat alone now walking with a quiet dignity. His journey had been different, marked by resilience and an unwavering spirit. The applause was equally loud, a testament to his strength and the respect he had earned. As Timmy walked across the stage, he and Tommy's eyes met. In that brief moment, a silent conversation passed between them, a shared understanding of the past and a mutual respect for the paths they had walked. It was a glance filled with a lifetime of unspoken words and newfound appreciation. The town's applause grew louder, a collective recognition of the boys' journey from adversaries to allies. It was a celebration not just of their academic success, but of their personal growth and the bonds they had forged. The entire community had borne witness to their transformation, and this moment was as much theirs as it was Tommy and Timmy's. As the ceremony continued, the two boys returned to their seats, the weight of their diplomas resting in their hands. The speeches and accolades flowed, each word a reminder of the journey they had taken. The sun continued its descent, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch toward the future. When the ceremony finally concluded, families rushed to congratulate their graduates. Tommy and Timmy found themselves surrounded by their loved ones, the air filled with laughter, tears, and the snapping of countless photographs. The two boys, now young men, embraced each other, their friendship solidified by the trials they had endured and the lessons they had learned. The town square became a hub of celebration, with music playing and food stalls offering local delicacies. Friends and families mingled, sharing stories and creating new memories. Tommy and Timmy wandered through the festivities, their camaraderie evident in their easy laughter and shared glances. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle, the town gathered for one last event, a fireworks display. The sky exploded with color, each burst a symbol of the bright futures awaiting the graduates. Tommy and Timmy stood side by side, their faces lit up by the dazzling lights, reflecting on how far they had come. Their journey had been one of growth and transformation, shaped by trials and triumphs. They had learned about forgiveness, the power of understanding, and the true meaning of family. As they watched the fireworks light up the night sky, they knew that their bond would endure, no matter where life took them next. The celebration continued late into the night, a fitting end to a day that marked both an ending and a new beginning. The town's cheers and laughter echoed in the air, a joyous symphony that would be remembered for years to come. And as Tommy and Timmy looked toward the future, they knew that they had not just survived their journey, they had thrived, and they were ready for whatever came next. After graduation, Tommy and Timmy found solace in each other's company, visiting each other's families and celebrating holidays together. Despite going their separate ways for college, the bond they had forged over the years remained unbroken. They navigated the challenges of higher education, always finding time to call or visit during breaks. Their friendship, tested and strengthened by the trials of their past, stood resilient. Years passed, and the two young men returned to their small town, now with broader perspectives and newfound maturity. The town, Nestled between rolling hills and whispering pines had changed little, but for Tommy and Timmy, it was a place of profound significance. Walking through the familiar streets, they reminisced about their journey, the ups and downs, and the lessons learned. The old school playground, the site of their first encounter and the many events that followed, was now a place of reflection. The bench where Timmy used to sit alone with his book was still there, as were the football fields where Tommy and his friends once played. These sites brought back memories, not just of the pain and regret, but of the growth and forgiveness that transformed them both. Their families, once strangers, had become close-knit. They gathered frequently, sharing meals and stories, their connections deepened by the shared history of their children. The holidays were especially joyous, filled with laughter and warmth, a stark contrast to the earlier years of misunderstanding and distance. Tommy, who had once been the source of Timmy's pain, had become his greatest ally and friend. He had learned the true meaning of family, not just by blood, but by the bonds forged through understanding and love. Timmy, with his quiet strength, had taught him about forgiveness and the power of change. As they stood by the town's edge, looking out over the rolling hills, they realized that their journey was far from over. Life would continue to present challenges, but they were prepared to face them together. They had learned that family wasn't just about shared ancestry, but about the connections that withstand the test of time and adversity. Their story, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the resilience of the human spirit, resonated throughout the town. It became a source of inspiration, a reminder that even the deepest wounds could heal, and that true friendship could blossom from the most unlikely beginnings. Tommy and Timmy's journey had come full circle, from childhood rivalry to a profound and lasting friendship. They knew that their paths might diverge again, but they would always find their way back to each other. The small town, with its rolling hills and whispering pines, would always be their home, a place where their story began and where it would continue to unfold. In the end, they walked away from the town's edge, side by side, ready to embrace the future, knowing that whatever came their way, they would face it together. The lessons they had learned about love, forgiveness, and the true meaning of family would guide them, lighting their path forward.